We would always go to High Street just to eat for like an hour before we're going home, because that was our happy place. That was where things just didn't matter. You could have like 10 detentions in a row, like just gone through a breakup, you know, divorce papers on the table, but you get to KFC and all of that is just left at the door. You know, once you get into KFC, it's just four guys, a bucket of chicken, and good vibes indefinitely. But what that meant in terms of the general public was that we, you know, teenage hooligans, I don't even know in terms of distance, but it was probably like a 10-minute, maybe 15-minute walk
of just pure mayhem.
What is going on, guys? Obviously it's Jordan here, back again with another video, and this is one that is so long overdue. So when I put out my biggest watched video so far, my most watched video so far, I failed my first year at the University of Bristol. I honestly did not expect that to get many views, but you know, little known to me, that would go on to be my most watched video of all time. Well, I say of all time, it's been like less than a year. Who knows what might happen next? But of course, yeah, I did really well. And what comes with, everyone knows that with great viewership comes great responsibility. And that responsibility is, of course, the responsibility to keep up to date with the poll that I put in that video. Like, I haven't done a poll in so long, but I put a poll in that video, so should I tell more stories, just because I thought, you know what, no one's going to watch it, it's going to be fine. And then, you know, 7,000 views later, I don't even know, I haven't even checked since like the day after the video, but I got loads of people saying yes, 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 and I'm like, you know what, now I've got to talk about something in my somewhat eventful life to date. So at long last, today I'm sitting down with you guys and we're going to run through how I got banned from my local, it's called a treaty centre, but what's the actual terminology for it? Like a shopping market kind of thing? Like a city centre, a mall, I don't know, a shopping place. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So me and my friends back in school used to, not necessarily every day, but almost every day after school, from like year 9 to year 13 almost, would, if we had a football to hand, we would go straight to the cages and kick a ball. Our school was one of those where we had the junior playground for year 7s and 8s, and then the senior playground for 9s to 11. And that meant that when you're in year 7, 8, you haven't really got much space. It's alright when you're young, because it's like, you know, it's a nice square space, you have basketball hoops on one end, and you have like a little chill area in the back. But other than that, there wasn't really much, there weren't many resources there to do much with. Like, you couldn't really play football safely without like knocking someone out, which we may have, you know what, never mind that bit. But we didn't really have the space and the facilities in the room to really go out and do whatever we wanted until year 9, and then of course 10 and 11. So in the senior playground, I haven't mentioned yet, but in that playground it's a lot bigger than the junior one. And while I was still allowed to play out there, we had a big open space, we had 2 basketball hoops, we had another 2 on the other side, in like the first, well, it's not really a quadrant, but it's like a third. You had benches there, like it was pretty cool. But then you had a little like semi-divider, and beyond that you had even more space. You had 2 cages for football or for other sports, I guess like tennis and stuff like that, and you had a big grass patch around the side. And that was like, that gave us life. That honestly gave us life, because it meant that before, football was usually unorganized. It was like 5 people playing in a small space, because you didn't really have goals or like posts. You had to make them yourself with bags, you know, back in the grassroots days. But now we finally had a cage where you can get a full match going on uninterrupted. There's no concern of like hitting someone with the ball or teachers telling you off, because that's what it's made for. It's made for football. But little to be known at the time, that was, I mean, to be fair, you should have known, it's kind of like the unspoken child rules. But it's not necessarily who gets there first as much as it's like the oldest own the space. So that was usually year 11's got the one cage, year 10's got the other, and then the year 9's kind of had the other side to themselves. Those were, of course, as I said, the unspoken child rules. You know, those rules obviously include, as I said, the oldest kind of rule the playground, the jinx rules, and of course smashing the like button. So so get that done if you haven't done that already. But regardless, back to the story. As I said, we used to play football a lot, and in the first year we didn't really have those cages, so we would usually like kick around at lunch or break. But it wasn't until after school where we got to go into the cages and just express ourselves and really just kick ball and, you know, enjoy life. And that trend continued from 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Well, not so much 13 because we had a lot of other stuff going on at the time, like applying to uni, and that's it basically. But yeah, we played football after school so much, and it's funny because I don't even think our group ever had a football. Like I don't remember ever buying one, but somehow there was always just one there to play with. So that's gonna be a fun conversation for the podcast another day. Shameless plug number 4 of today. But that all, you know, it's all fun and well when you have your enclosed space and the cages and your friends, and it's all good and well when you're, you know, in school, when you're in a bubble where there's no one out there you can hurt. But that all fell apart very, very quickly when we forgot to smash the like button because I have nothing else to say anymore. So nah, seriously, that all fell apart after the goals after the cage session, because my group, and this is well before cages and even well after cages to be fair, we would always go to High Street just to eat for like an hour before we're going home, because that was our happy place. That was where things just didn't matter. You could have like 10 detentions in a row, like just gone through a breakup, you know, divorce papers on the table, but you get to KFC and all of that is just left at the door. You know, once you get into KFC, it's just 4 guys, a bucket of chicken and good vibes indefinitely. So that was like our place to just jam, to enjoy ourselves, to express ourselves, and that was the spot. But what that meant in terms of the general public was that we, you know, teenage hooligans with a football had to go from school to, of course, the main High Street, which is about, I don't even know in terms of distance, but it's probably like a 10-minute, maybe 15-minute walk of just pure mayhem for anyone else on those streets. So any of you guys that were walking up and down from St. Mark's to Hounslow High Street between 2009 to 2016, I'm so sorry for whatever nonsense and shenanigans I was pulling back in those days. But it led to some good stories, including this one that I keep interrupting. So yeah, one day, as with any other day after, you know, cages session, we're leaving the school gates, and as kids are, no one wants to carry the ball, and even if you do carry the ball, you end up dropping it at some point anyway and kicking about, and that's the way things go. And it's usually, if you don't already know anyway, like the last touch takes the ball home. And yeah, I'm never getting that last touch. That ball, no ball ever came near my house. I'm telling you right now, because if a ball came home, either my brother would take it or it would go over the fence and we'd never see it again. So I take no responsibility for that ball, like ever. I don't even have any balls now, like any footballs in my yard. So like, yeah. Anyway, as we're walking down the High Street, of course, you know, we're kicking the ball about. We never did anything too extreme. Like, I know some people that will be like across the road and be like, oh, get it over the bus. And to be fair, I don't think it ever went badly, but the potential was there. The potential was there for things to go so south so quickly. But regardless, we were kicking it about between us. We're usually like in our 3s or 4s quite close towards each other. So it's never really much room for things to go wrong. Until this one day. So we got to the High Street, and then you have like KFC, Subway, McDonald's on the left hand side, like in a string of shops as normal, and then the right hand side was like the mall or the shopping complex. I still don't know the word for it, but it was, you know, the treaty centre, the shopping centre, that's a better word. And to get in, you have to walk through these like canopied off areas. So you walk through, there's like a few shops on the side under the canopy, then you go into the main complex. But that walk, similar to the walk from school to High Street, was like, I want to say 20 meters of this pure mayhem for anyone that was involved in High Street football. So again, I want to reiterate, anyone that walked past me between 2009 and 16, I'm so sorry for all the madness that I put you through. But the story goes on. So we're playing football there, passing it between us, as you do, just normal games. And then one of us decided to do one touch, one bounce, which is, of course, you know, a recipe for disaster when you're in an enclosed space. But, you know, we go, you know, I kick it up, my friend kicks it up, it bounces, someone kicks it again, it bounces, I kick it again. And we had a good rally going from like the top of the High Street down to like mid High Street and then into the centre. Up until now, I don't know what happened here. Like the ball went, I think it went over my head. So I like I was running backwards, keeping an eye on it, like because the way things go in schools, if you didn't go to school for whatever reason, but the way things go is that hierarchy. Like if the ball comes to you and your touch is dead and like you mess up, that's kind of your career over. you might as well retire right there. That's literally Jack Wilshere's story. He had one bad touch at Arsenal and then now he's at West Ham, and the story goes on. But but when that ball comes in, like I knew there was no way I was getting this touch right. I knew for a fact that even if I tried to touch the ball, either she was hitting the deck or that window was being broken or like something was gonna go wrong. But in my 13, 14-year-old mind, I'm like, it's worth it. I do not want to break the code. I don't want to be that guy who was too scared to kick it and the second bounce happened and all of that. So I'm like, nah, I'm not having it. Ball comes down, and when the ball peaked at like its peak height, it must have been like an hour went by in my head. I'm thinking, should I do it? Should I do it? But history shows you that, of course, ball landed on my feet. I kicked it, and it literally, like the way momentum works, like balls curve off and they drop back down, right? This one was a straight line, straight up into the roof, smashed the light, and you see like the the light shade thing just bang on the floor, smashed into a million pieces, and I'm just here like I had nothing to say at that point, and it's almost like it happened in slow motion. I saw the ball leave my foot just mad slowly heading towards the light, and as again a straight line. Like the gravity was like, nah, I'm not touching this. The forces of nature were like, nope, you're on your own here. Hit the lampshade, and all I see is slow motion, just bang. What is wrong with me? So yeah, man, the light just broke. The light shade thing just hit the ground, smashed. People that were like near it just like jumped backwards. My boys were just standing there looking at me, and like they knew as soon as the ball went up, they must have known that that I think they knew like this is not gonna work out well. I don't know, but they had already started running. Like they were looking at me for a sec, like for an instant they were looking at me as if like uh-oh, and then they just got out of there. But me, I was still encapsulated in this, in this red alert phase or whatever. And the next thing I know, I take a step forward and I just feel like yanked backwards because the security guard had my bag, and it was all over for me. It was all over for me. So what I imagine happened is that once we started playing in the first place, someone called security, said there were some kids being idiots, and then the guard was already on his way to get us. So that was just bad timing in terms of me breaking the light. But the fact that we were kicking ball in there in the first place probably wasn't a great idea, given the toxic male ego I had at the time. But regardless, we got taken upstairs. I thought they were going to just run and never come back, but they decided to come back and back it. So I respect them for that. But the three of us were taken upstairs to like the centre office, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know how long we were there for, but it felt like a very long time. It felt like at least an hour, but it was probably like 10 minutes looking back. But I was just scared. I'm like, I'm going to prison. I'm never getting into uni. Girls are never going to like me. Like, priorities of a 14-year-old mind, I'm never going to be rich. All these things, like, I put down a deposit on a Tesla. I'm not going to see it no more. Like, whatever's going through my head. And yeah, long story short, they came out. They took like my... They asked for ID, but I didn't have any, so they took my Oyster card at the time, or a zip card because I was under 16, and then took pictures of us, and I said, look, you're banned, you can't come back here. And we came back. I went back the very next day, like, whoa, okay. Say something now. But nah, that irrespective of how that story ended, that moment was so crazy. I feel like there are so many mad stories that happen in school. I can't think of many off the top of my head, but this one, it sticks out to me so much because being banned is something that you don't get to talk about very often. So hopefully that didn't cost me any jobs. Shout out to my future employers. I promise to work hard, never kick a ball again. But yeah, they banned us. And you know what's funny actually? Because it's not like I went back on, on my own. I went home, I told mum, yo, I got banned from this, we were playing football. And I'm pretty sure I lied about it. I must have said some nonsense. But regardless, I told mum what happened. And then it was that weekend. I think I ran out, like I'd grown out of my school shirts. And the only place that we could buy the correct gear for school was in the shops like next to my school. So we went back there and I was like, Mum, I'm banned, right? And she's like, yeah, if they come out, I'll speak to them. I'm like, I'm dead. Like, I'm not making it out of the situation alive because, oh man, I was so scared. But of course, history shows that I went in, bought my school shirt, left, nothing happened. And from that day on, as far as I was concerned, the ban was lifted. So, yeah, obviously, never ever broke the law. Maybe never. But yeah, as far as that story goes, that is the end of the story. And of course, that is the end of the video. Don't be afraid to let me know down below what you thought. This is obviously my first time trying this storytelling narrative. So if you have any issues with it, take it up to the judge because, I've run out of things to say. But but otherwise, yeah, like it if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more videos. Check out the podcast if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, stay safe out in lockdown. And I'll see you soon.